On February 18, 2019, Wade's behavior took a terrifying turn. Wade and Kelly got into like some kind of heated argument. Somehow it leads to Wade kidnapping Kelly. He threw her into the trunk of her own car and then drove to the Florida Keys, which was about 3.5 hours away, with her in the trunk. During this, he like beat and sexually assaulted her. He binded her up with her own clothes. He stuffed leggings in her mouth to gag her. It was pretty intense. At some point, he like bit her lower face. He scratched her neck. And apparently in the struggle to get her into the trunk of the car, he broke her foot by slamming like the door on it. So he's got her in like the trunk, whatever, and he's driving like recklessly down the I-95. Allegedly, he's like speeding, weaving through traffic, driving like a psycho. During the drive, I mean, it's 3.5 hours. At some point, he got hungry. So he pulled into a McDonald's drive-thru and ordered food with her still in the trunk. Jeez Louise. So inside the car, Wade had disabled the OnStar system. You know, that little thing that you talk to, OnStar. Is that still in cars? I forgot about that. I don't have OnStar. I have a Kia. But just in case, like, you know, she tried to, I don't know, take it, like, use it, talk to it. And then I guess he, like, took her phone and quickly sold it for crack. And then when they reached the Keys, it was, like, around 4 a.m., Wade had met up with another woman, and he let Kelly go. Thank God, right? He lets her go. I guess he gave her the keys to the car so she could drive back. That part I was like, what? Okay, I mean, I'll take it. It's better than him going psycho and doing something crazy, you know? But, okay. So Kelly, she drives back to Palm Beach County, and she went straight to the hospital. The hospital, you know, they documented the lacerations on her wrist, the bite marks. She had a busted lip, and then they took a sexual assault kit. Now, after this, Kelly, she wanted to press charges, but based off of my understanding, it seems like the police out there are freaking idiots, because like either the evidence was lost, ignored, or somehow insufficient, and like nothing came of it, which makes no sense because she had all these documents showing that like what he did to her. Kelly kept some of like the photos of her injuries on her phone, but police were unable to locate the photos that they had taken at the hospital. Like they took photos and stuff and then they just like deleted them. They're literally so dumb. This whole story is about how dumb these police are. Sorry, but they are. The case ended up becoming inactive because there were no witnesses, and technically, because they lost it all, no evidence. And I guess at some point they did go to Wade and they questioned him about these allegations. And Wade told police that he had tied Kelly up in the back of her car because she was, quote, into that kind of thing. So after that, like, police were like, well, all right, well, okay, checks out. And that was it. So after the incident, Kelly and Wade, I believe they officially, like, ended it. Pretty positive. But, you know, for Wade, he continued on with his violent behavior. It was said that he dated, like, several other women where he, like, had abused them or just was violent, you know? When I was reading about this, they said that at some point, allegedly, he may have dated a guy, and at some point he had stabbed this guy. It's not funny. It's just like awkward because that was all the information I could find. So like he may have dated a guy and stabbed him. And then moving on. I was like, okay, all right. What was that about though? Just not any information I could find. So by October of 2019, Wade was dating a woman named Melissa Montanez. And just follow me on this journey because I had a lot of questions. I was like, what? This doesn't make sense. But just this is what happened. Okay. On October 6th, Wade and Melissa, they're dating. They decided to go out to the club in Fort Myers, and it's called Buddha Live. Buddha Live. And while they're there, Wade, he meets this guy named Jason Shepard. Now, I guess they did not know each other before this evening, Jason and Wade. But the two seemed to hit it off. I'm sure it's something drug-related, in my opinion, allegedly. I don't know. But like this Jason guy, he invites Wade and Melissa back to his place Melissa's like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't know this guy. I don't want to go. So she's like, no, I'm not going. Well, Wade, he really wanted to go and he did not like her answer. So he's like, you know what? Fine. And he ends up taking Melissa's car and like technically stealing it. So he steals her car. And then he meets up with this woman named Christine Melton and her friend Stephanie Johnston. But Wade introduced himself as Junior to the Stephanie girl because he didn't know that Stephanie girl. He knew Christine. Not sure how they knew each other, but whatever, that happened. It was said that Christine and Wade, they had been attracted to one another and were quote unquote intimate. So the next morning, he like stays the night, probably... I'm assuming here, maybe doing drugs. I don't know. The next morning, Wade tried to drive Christine and Stephanie back to Cape Coral where Christine had lived. I guess it was said like he was having a really hard time driving the car he had stolen because it was manual and it wasn't an automatic. So he's like, trying to shift and it's not going so well for him. But they get to Christine's house a little later than they had planned. And Stephanie, the friend, she's like, hey, I gotta go. I gotta take my kid to school and then I gotta go to work. So she leaves. So we don't really know what went down, but something went down. Because what we do know is that shortly after Stephanie left, Wade strangled Christine to death. I know. I was like, what? He like tied her up with her own clothes, strangles her, and then he left the crime scene. And he takes Christine's car because he hates that other one that he has to shift with. So he steals her car. And then Wade, he makes a phone call to his girlfriend, Melissa, around 8 a.m. So at first, like, Melissa's not answering. And then about an hour goes by and Wade, I guess, is still calling her. And Melissa answers. And, like, obviously, she's pissed, right? She's like, what the F? So they have, like, a pretty heated argument over Wade stealing her car. And he then drives to her workplace, and it was in like downtown Fort Myers, and he's driving Christine's black Nissan Versa. So he gets to technically his girlfriend's place of work. When he got there, he like tries to drag Melissa into the car and she's resisting. So then he tackles her, he beats her, he chokes her, he then drags her up the stairs to her business, pins her against the wall by her throat. So awful, right? So I guess once he's got her pinned, he's punching her in the face and just beating her. And I guess he punches her hard enough that she actually starts to bleed pretty heavily. And this kind of caught him off guard. I think it was like a moment where he maybe came back to reality, had like a moment of clarity because he's like, oh shit. So he pauses. But this pause gave Melissa a chance to like duck under his arm and escape. So she takes off and she like locks herself in a room, I think it was. But she gets away. So when she gets away, Wade just decides to get back in that Nissan and drive off. Wade's violent spree didn't end there. He returned to Cape Coral sometime between 9:30 and 11 a.m. So when he's driving, this is when he spots a woman named Diane Ruiz. She's walking to work at the Moose Lodge. And I guess Wade spots her and he like pulls over and he's like, hey, I need directions. Can you help me? I don't know. He somehow convinces her to like get into the car with him and help him. So she does.